guys, I'm so excited to bring you this video today because we'll be looking at two different continents, continent of Australia and continent of Europe. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please kindly do so as we have so many more videos coming your way. My name is Kunle Halogan. To start with, a bit of background for you. In terms of continent of Australia, we have Australia as a continent and also as a country. For your information, we have 14 different countries in the continent of Australia. Countries include New Zealand, Samoa, and a number of those countries. But on this video, we will be focusing on Australia only as a country within the continent of Australia. Australia as a continent currently have total number 8,525. The total number of deaths is around 118, and the total number of recoveries is thought to be around 7,599. Looking at Australia as a country, Australia currently have the total number of confirmed cases of 6,918. The death is around 97, and the total number of recoveries is thought to be around 6,122. Australia has been highly successful in flattening the Covid-19 curve in the country.
It has seen a similar fall-off in cases. Unlike New Zealand, restaurants were allowed to open for takeout, and the iconic Bondi Beach reopened to surfers this week.
That was beautiful. It's so good to be back in the water. It's like we've been craving for it since the beach was closed.
In addition to the lockdown measures, both countries benefit from their remote location, which gave them more time to react.
The strategies that was put in place includes early border closure. On February 1st, Australia banned entry for all non-citizens who had been in China within the last 14 days. This was labeled by some as an overreaction. Yet the government resisted calls from the university and tourist sectors to hastily reopen the border. These are two key sectors that generate high income for Australian government. On the 15th of March, all new arrivals were ordered by law to self-isolate for 14 days. A week later, non-residents were banned from entering the country. Several Australian states have implemented unprecedented border controls and quarantine orders. Returning citizens are escorted from airports to 14-day quarantine in a hotel funded by the taxpayer. The government of Australia has put in place a number of support for its citizens. On Tuesday, 5th of May, the Queen called the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison to congratulate Australia in its remarkable success fighting COVID-19, and Her Majesty reveals that she is pleased that horse racing has not been suspended in Australia. The government is now beginning to take careful steps to ease some of its restrictions. Clearly, the Australian government has put in place a decent strategy that has been working so far, has been on top of the global strategies in terms of fighting COVID-19 till date. Hopefully, this strategy will continue to work for the country. Moving on to the continent of Europe. In Europe, we have total confirmed cases of 1,596,860. The number of deaths is around 150,928, and the total number of recoveries is 641,518. In Europe, the number one country on our list is Spain. Spain currently have the total number of cases to be around 222,857. The death is 26,299, and the recoveries is 131,148. The government of Spain has used the royal decree to declare a 14-day state of emergency. Doctors in Spain have complained of a lack of basic protective equipment. The scale of the pandemic emerged in early April, when Spain's defense minister revealed that soldiers drafted in to help tackle the outbreak by disinfecting residential homes had found a number of elderly people abandoned and dead in their beds. The Madrid region has logged almost 1/3 of the national total confirmed cases. In fact, Palacio de Hilo ice rink in northeast Madrid has been converted into a morgue under temporary and extraordinary measures agreed between the local and regional governments. Spain has one of the strictest confinement measures in Europe. Government now eases lockdown in a staggered approach.
A celebration of freedom in Madrid. Starting today, Spaniards can leave their homes to exercise, something they haven't been able to do in nearly 2 months. It's part of the country's roadmap to recovery. We're happy, we feel free.
It's essential. For physical and mental health, it's essential to allow people to exercise.
Authorities are monitoring the situation closely. With the highest number of cases in Europe, Spain has the continent's largest coronavirus field hospital. In another positive sign, it's finally closing its doors. The last patients left the facility on Friday, much to the relief of the medical staff. As Spain takes its first steps forward, the rest of Europe is watching closely.
Clearly, Spain has been the most heated country in Europe with the highest number of confirmed cases. Hopefully, the strategy that has been put in place by the Spanish authority will continue to work effectively. Moving on to our next country. The next country we have on the list of number 2 in Europe is Italy. Italy currently have total number of confirmed cases of 217,185. Death is 30,201 and total recovery is 99,023. Italy was the first country to confirm Covid-19 case in Europe. Covid-19 has plunged the country into its biggest crisis since World War II, according to Harvard Business Review. In a matter of weeks, from February 21 to March 22, Italy went from the discovery of the first official Covid-19 case to a government decree that essentially prohibited all movement of people within the whole territory and the closure of all non-essential business activities. Within this very short time period, the country has been hit by nothing short of a tsunami of unprecedented force, punctuated by an incessant stream of deaths. Part of the crisis was attributed to sfortuna, meaning in Italy, bad luck. Even though several scientists have been warning that the potential of the catastrophic waves lies ahead. Indeed, in late February, some notable Italian politicians engaged in public handshaking in Milan to make the point that the economy should not panic and stop because of the virus. A week later, one of these politicians was diagnosed with COVID-19. Italy is now partially reopened after its 2-month shutdown. On the 4th of May, 4.4 million Italians were able to return to work and restrictions on movement has been eased.
It's been a long time coming, an emotional moment for these Italian grandparents and their granddaughter. Just a few weeks ago, it would have been normal. Now, it's a celebration of freedom and of family. Today, after months of being apart, Domenico and Maria Antonia finally reunited with their 5-year-old granddaughter, Cecilia. Italy seems to be finally turning the tide. The once desolate streets of Italy's major cities are starting to show signs of coming back to life.
Hopefully, the Italian government will learn a lesson that they need to act fast enough and possibly shut down every part of the country to ensure that this kind of pandemic does not spread across the entire country in future. Moving on to the next country on our list. The next country is United Kingdom. The total number of confirmed cases in UK is 211,364. The death is thought to be around 31,241. As British death toll becomes the worst in Europe, Britain has been criticized around the world for complacent and calamitous coronavirus response.
And if you land from Italy right now, or New York City, which is being ravaged by coronavirus, and you land at a British airport, what happens to you when you land?
Well, I think for most of those individuals, they wouldn't be tested. But that
what do you do with them?
Why that is?
What do you do with them?
The reason why? They enter the country if they're able to do so. But the reason
they just come in. There's no mandatory quarantine. There's no nothing.
There's no testing.
You're just letting all these people from countries with heavy COVID-19 death rates just walk into the country.
If you could perhaps let me answer the question.
Well, can you just give me a straight answer?
Is led by. Well, I haven't had any chance to give you an answer whether it was.
Please don't always play that card. The go-to card for all the government ministers right now is, you haven't given me a chance to answer. I've asked you very simple questions. The clear, simple answer to the Heathrow and Gatwick and other airport questions is, here's the question, give me a simple answer. What do we do to the thousands of people arriving from countries with high COVID-19 when they arrive in our country? Here's the question, do we do anything?
Those individuals who have symptoms are taken down one route. Those individuals who are not.
Despite a catastrophic death toll and PPE scandal, many in the media are far more interested in the name of Boris Johnson's baby. The interpretation of the Westminster's government handling of the crisis is fairly unambiguous. The failures includes the healthcare workers, which struggle to access PPE equipment. The government of Britain has also been accused of being too slow to implement a lockdown. And there has been bungled testing, and also vulnerable care home residents were not properly protected. Dr. Richard Horton, editor-in-chief of the Lancet Medical Journal, is quoted as saying, "The handling of the COVID-19 crisis in the UK is the most serious science policy failure in a generation." COVID-19 test numbers stood at around 69,463 in the 24 hours to 9 a.m. on Wednesday, 6th May. Well short of the 100,000 a day, ministers say they are necessary to ease the UK's lockdown. Downing Street said technical issues in one of the testing labs had contributed to this low number of tests. In terms of the United Kingdom, there has been so many conflicting views. For instance, Nightingale Hospital was stood up in just over a week, and it is being considered to be removed or dismantled completely, as it is not currently being used. If the UK is currently recording the highest number of death toll in Europe, and the confirmed cases continue to increase, how will you then have the total number of people, individuals, patients coming into the hospital to reduce when you continue to have higher number of confirmed cases and death toll? So there's been conflicting views as to whether the UK authority are reporting the accurate information on the data in terms of the total number of confirmed cases and the death. And also, if that is the case, then can we say that there are more people infected and they decide to stay at home simply because they lost trust in the National Health Service in England and Wales? This remains to be seen. Another chaotic part was the PPE.
400,000 gowns flown in from Turkey for coronavirus medics last month fell short of UK standards and were deemed useless by UK health and safety inspectors. With pressure mounting on the government's handling of the crisis, the vital personal protective equipment has been impounded in a warehouse outside Heathrow Airport.
The frontline staffs were not quickly equipped enough. Majority of them, they lost their lives in the process. So Britain has still not got it right up till date. Hopefully, Britain will put in place a decent strategy to live up to its expectation as the #1 country in Europe. Number 4 on our list of the most heated country in Europe is Russia. Russia currently have 187,859 cases. The death is 1,723 and the recovery is 26,608. The Moscow lockdown announced on the March 29th is an unprecedented event in Russia's post-Soviet Union history. Compared to Western countries, Russia's response to the coronavirus outbreak was met with quick response. A special coronavirus headquarters was created on the 27th of January and Russia closed its border with China 3 days later. On the 31st of January, the same day that Italy reported its first confirmed cases of COVID-19, 2 Russian regions announced that 2 Chinese tourists carried the virus, making them the first confirmed cases in Russia. It was not until February 28th that Chinese citizens were temporarily banned from entering Russia. However, as the number of the recorded cases remain under 100 from January 31st to March 16th, Russia has slowly put in place a lockdown.
Weeks of reporting a seemingly low number of cases, infections have exploded in Russia this week with 10,000 new cases a day since Sunday. The number of reported cases is more than 177,000, with more than half the infections in the capital, Moscow. But Moscow's mayor says the numbers there are likely 3 times higher than reported. Meanwhile, Russia's COVID-19 death toll has passed 1,500. More than 100 medical workers have died fighting the virus, and many have reported lack of personal protective equipment. 3 doctors mysteriously fell from hospital windows over the past 2 weeks. 2 of them have died. 1 is hospitalized.
Hopefully, the strategy that the Russian government are using to curb this coronavirus will continue to work and ensure that it does not spread across the country. Number 5th most heated country in Europe is France. France have 174,380 cases. The death is 26,192 and recovery is 54,770. If any country should have been able to handle coronavirus outbreak, you wouldn't think it will now be France, one of Europe's most powerful countries. France has a world-renowned healthcare system, immense wealth, ample social welfare, a centralized government, and a strong presidency. Yet, the country currently has one of the highest number of confirmed COVID-19 cases and deaths in the world. The country's healthcare system is consistently ranked among the best in the world. Yet, France has experienced shortage of hospital beds, masks, and other critical products as the number of confirmed cases and deaths continue to rise. Popular food markets have been turned into makeshift morgues, and high-speed trains have become COVID-19 patient transport vehicles. Currently, France is in partial lockdown and is currently considering easing the lockdown in itself. Hopefully, the strategy of the French authority will continue to work and it will ensure that there is no spread of the virus across the country. Number 6 country on our list of the most impacted country in Europe is Germany. Germany currently have 170,518 cases. The death is 7,510 and the recovery is 141,700. German response to the outbreak has been commended internationally for its foresight and vigilance.
Europe has been described by the WHO as the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak worldwide. However, there is one country with fewer deaths than all major European countries: Germany. Germany has been able to flatten the curve.
The strategies put in place by the German authority includes early closure of borders, ensure 500,000 tests were carried out every week, and also put in place a robust medical facilities. Clearly, the strategy put in place by the German authority has been very effective enough to reduce the number of death toll in the country, that it is even looking to ease the lockdown at the moment. Hopefully, this strategy will continue to work. Our number 7 most heated country in Europe is Turkey. Turkey currently have 135,569 cases. The death is thought to be around 3,689, and the total number of recoveries is 86,396. In Turkey, the first official announcement of Covid-19 case was on the 11th of March, and the first death took place on the 18th of March. Turkey adopted a different approach, like medicine and high-flow oxygen. In Turkey, the government has announced a number of packages to support the economy and small businesses. Hopefully, the strategy that has been put in place by the Turkish authority will continue to work and be effective and reduce the spread of global pandemic in the country. Number 8 country on our list is Belgium. Belgium currently have total number of confirmed cases to be 52,011. The death is 8,521, and the total number of recovery is 13,201. The government of Belgium took drastic measures to lock down the country. The government also built and equipped new hospitals with more beds to cope with the pandemic. The Belgian authority enforced compulsory wearing of face masks. After 7 weeks of human and social sacrifices, Belgium kicked off a gradual deconfinement with an exit strategy to be rolled out with the key dates. Hopefully, the Belgian authority will continue to put in place all of this robust strategy to fight this global pandemic in the country. This makes up our top 8 most heated countries in Europe. Previously on our episodes, we have looked at continent of Africa, Asia, and now we have looked at Australia and the continent of Europe. Next on our list, we'll be going to the South America and the North America, which includes the United States of America. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please kindly do so, as we have so many more episodes coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.